recent, and they used their song "Short Skirt, Long Jacket" as a title.
Oh, okay.
Na, 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 na. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles.
That's right.
Grew a mustache and a mullet. Got a job at Chick-fil-A. Citing artistic differences, the band broke up in May and in June reformed without me. They got a different name. More on that later. But my name's John, his name's Andy, and we are here to listen to, dissect, regurgitate, and finally flush away a song. Andy, what have you got for us?
Such a lovely way you've illustrated it, what we do here.
The digestive system of the music world.
Yeah, exactly. I need a Tums after that. So yes, the artist we're going to listen to today, I'm quite sure you're familiar with. I don't know to what degree though. They are a band called Cake. Yeah, okay. And the track we're going to listen to today is called Friend is a Four-Letter Word. Yeah, little artistic liberty there with that one. But are you familiar with this song?
On the face of it, no.
Okay.
There's a chance, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I thought there might be.
I'm definitely not familiar with it, like some of their stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Go off and give this a listen, and let me know if anything comes back to you having heard it, or if this was a fresh listen. And regardless of that, what you thought of it.
Okay, I'm off to have me some cake.
Enjoy.
To me, coming from you, friend is a four-letter word. End is the only part of the word that I heard. Call me morbid or absurd, but to me, coming from you, a four-letter word.
Yeah, this is a Cake song. I really like, was that banjos at the start? Cool. I really like his voice, but it does have, no matter what he does, to me, it sounds kind of flat. Almost, there's no compassion there. And sometimes it can sound quite sarcastic. But I still really like it. I'm not trying to pick fault with it at all. It's just the way it comes across to my ears. The Cake songs that I know, they're always really well put together. Great guitar sounds. There'll be a trumpet in here somewhere. I like that touch of that organ. I'm just going to whiz it back to before. I remember when the guitars kicked in, but that was a nice little touch.
That I heard, call me morbid or absurd, but to me, coming from you, friend is a four-letter word. about me. Coming from you, friend is a four-letter word.
Yeah, loved it. I haven't listened to Cake in a while now, and all the elements I enjoy were there. The songs are so well done. And I think it's the way he sings with such precision. The words almost seem more thoughtful and clever than they really are. Yeah, I mean, he rhymed fishing and wishing, which is so simple, but it sounded really cool, just the way he delivered it. Yeah, that sort of trumpet that almost goes into mariachi style. I really like the organ as well. Guitar sound fantastic. Bass was cool as well. I you know, he has faults with his vocals, but I love them anyway. Bits when they come in as well, backing vocals, and quite a lot of his songs they have bits where they go off in an instrumental and he kind of whoops or yelps or says "all right" or something like that in the background, and they're always really nice touches as well. So yeah, winner winner chicken dinner. This is a great song. Good pick, Andy. Let's go back to him and talk it over.
Aha! So you were back from your dessert. What did you make of this song? Did it come back to you having heard it, or was this a fresh listen for you?
I just want to say I never understood the phrase you can't have your cake and eat it. Well, if you don't have your cake, how can you fucking eat it anyway?
Yeah,
But that aside.
that's a valid point.
Yeah, interesting. So I saw from the thumbnail, this is from Fashion Nugget.
Yeah.
Now, for some reason, that's an album I don't have by them. And I don't know why. And I'll say why. It's because I've been told it's their best album. I've got Comfort Eagle. I've got Pressure Chief. Now, well, I do know some songs from Fashion Nugget. Now, the first song I ever heard by Cake was It's Coming Down, which is on this album. It was on a freebie cassette from a magazine, and I actually can picture where I was when I heard it. So it would have been late 96 or early 97. Frank Sinatra is one of my favorite Cake songs.
Yeah. I was going to pick that, but I thought you may have heard it.
Mariachi and Twanging Guitar, no contest. Also, The Distance is another one of my favorite songs by them.
Yeah.
And Perhaps is decent. And I Will Survive is superlative. And they're all from that album. So I know about 5 songs off the album, but I don't know the album.
What the hell are you doing? Go download this.
Anyway. Yeah, because Perhaps used to appear on lots of compilation albums around that time because it was a cool cover. But I Will Survive, I think, is just brilliant. It's one of the best cover versions ever. It's in my top 10, definitely, of cover songs. Anyway, back to this song. So I didn't know it, which is weird because it sounds like we've got a faulty CD player and just skip tracks. But it's just there's half of them I haven't heard, and this is one of them, which is cool. Nice surprise for me. So it starts off with lovely. I'm thinking banjo. I'm sure it's banjo. He sings for about 4 bars or so, and then the drums and bass kick in, and this organ as well. And that organ's got that weird late 60s, early 70s kind of quality about it. It's like a sadness to it. It's not Procol Harum and White Shade of Pale, but it's like, a stepdaughter of it or something. It's along from those lines. And it has an immediate like feeling of slightly melancholy, whatever, straight away to it. And I stopped the reaction just as the guitar started to kick in. So I just want to talk about his voice, all right? And for a band that I really like, I don't know anything about them, so I don't even know the names of the guys in the band or anything, but, you know, I don't know where they're from. I don't know when they started or when they finished. I just know a bunch of songs by them. So I don't know who he is. I'm assuming it's a bloke.
Yep.
I really, really like his voice, but it's not without issue. But there's lots of people with voices that have issues that I really like as well. Stu Staples being one of them, you know. And David Gedge, you know, wedding present as well. It's weird because there is a kind of flatness to his voice. No matter what he does, even when he tries to give us a month, it still sounds unemotional.
Yeah.
And I've seen the reaction almost lacking compassion, like a cold-hearted killer. But he has a precision to his voice as well. Like, you understand every syllable of every word. I mean, it's done delivery. But I always picture him wearing a bloody suit and tie while he's singing, you know, old school. Because he has got that precision to it. But it can, because of that, have a slightly sardonic feel to it if you're not careful. And there's this tongue-in-cheek stuff. And, you know, even when it's doing the dramatics and like The Distance, it's almost like someone reporting like a sort of hackneyed old local TV news reporter going, yeah, he's going the distance and this is already sad. You know, the guy's going round and round and round because he's losing his mind. But anyway, but yeah, the band, they sound like a cooler, I don't know if this makes sense, but to me, they sound like a cooler version of They Might Be Giants. They've got a similar sort of bent on the way they look at things, a bit quirky, but they just sound like the cool kids. They Might Be Giants geeks, dorks, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, you love them still, but there's also an underlying sense of intelligence, which is completely unfounded. I don't know why, but there is with this band and with him. And I can't say why there is, but they've convinced me there is. And so it always sounds, his delivery sounds really cool and probably more important than it is. And even when he's doing simple rhymes like fishing and wishing, it sounds cleverer than it is because of the way he does it. So yeah, I really like his voice, but I know some people might have issues with it. I think again here it's great as well, really is. So back to the song. As soon as the guitar kicks in, that chunky riff, I thought, yep, this is a Cake song. And I said, I'm keenly anticipating when the trumpet's going to come in. And so it's a great guitar riff, and then not too long, hey presto, trumpet. So great. Again, just briefly, the trumpet. There wasn't much I was listening to at the time of indie, if you want to call it, that had a trumpet in it. You know, especially the way they're done. I mean, yeah, there wasn't. There really wasn't. So again, it had that really nice quality to it, but it often had that mariachi. And I'm not, you know, a connoisseur of the trumpet enough to say that this is definitely this and that. But to me, there's a mariachi sound to quite a lot of it. And it's such an evocative sound. And being a limey stuck in the middle of, you know, the Fenlands or whatever, where I was at the time, I would get pictures in my head of Arizona and New Mexico with cliched, you know, cacti, huge dusty horizons, long straight roads with squidgy tarmac for where the sun's melted it. You know, that's the things when I hear that sort of trumpet. But there's also how the instrument works, and there is an immediate pathos with this sad trumpet, which again, with like the organ, it just brings it in and probably makes up for the lack of tone or compassion in the vocals. And a lot of these do it deliberately, but they work really well together, and it bridges that gap. So all the Cake songs that I've ever heard, as you can tell from my own rambling, I'm enthusiastic about, and they are well crafted, and this is no different. The backing vocals, the occasional noodle from the organ, the banjos coming and going. At the 3/4 mark, they go into like a little instrumental break. And he does this thing that he does in quite a few songs where you can almost sonically, it sounds like he steps back 5 paces and he goes, whoa, and he does these whoops and stuff like that. And they're really nice touches, and he does that a lot. And the trumpet is then joined by an overlaying trumpet part on top of it. So it doubles down on that, and it sounds fantastic. And that's my favorite part of the song. Not to say any of the other parts were shoddy, because they weren't. But so it breaks down, and then it just finishes. And the last lines as he sings them sort of emphasize the message. So knowing what I know, which isn't a great deal, it left me feeling slightly melancholic, this overall tone of this. And I think with the title, has a double meaning. So 4-letter word can be a curse word, but also 4-letter word is love. So the lyrics, because he sang them again, you know, to me, coming from you, friend is a 4-letter word. And there is sadness. It's not anger like you would do with a curse word. So I think he wants to be out of the friendship zone and into the jiggy zone. And end is the only part of that word that I heard, which is basically the end of his hopes that it's going to develop. So that's what I got out of it. For me, I absolutely loved it. And I've learned my lesson. So I have just ordered Fashion Nugget on vinyl, and you will see it on this wall in a week or two's time.
Nice. That's awesome.
Job done.
This is it's funny because at the time this wasn't one of my favorite albums of what would be the 90s, but it is clearly now one of my favorite albums to come out of the 90s. I think it's just so fun and different for when it came out, and still to this day quite different than you're going to hear anywhere else. The really interesting hodgepodge of influences that have all been like chucked in the blender and somehow generated this is great. It's funny that you mentioned his penchant for the who, you know, and then ha, and all this stuff away from the microphone. And it's so funny because that type of mechanism as a vocalist usually suggests one who's very invested emotionally into his performance. And yet, because of all you so eloquently, you know, posited, he doesn't have any of that. So when he does it makes me laugh no matter what the subject matter is of the song, because of like, what the this isn't supposed to be your move. Why is this in your arsenal? But it is, and it's funny. It is. And yeah, they're a very quirky band. It's funny that you said you imagine him wearing a suit, because oftentimes when I see him, he's wearing those very exaggerated, almost Vegas style Western shirts with like the pointed long collars and maybe the bolo tie and a cowboy hat, which kind of fits the motif of the Southwestern scene that you were painting earlier. So there is something sardonic and sarcastic about him and this band that makes it, I don't know, for some reason, all that much more attractive to me, because there's a bit of that to my personality, and this really hones in on that sound. So yeah, I'm really glad you loved it. This is the third track on Fashion Nugget, which was their second album, which is kind of also flies in the face of your predilections of, oh yes, the first album is always the best, and so forth. But yeah, this
exceptions prove the rules, as I referred to my previous album, Radiohead. Yes.
Okay, we'll hang our hat on that then. But yeah, Cake, they're an American rock band from Sacramento, California, which is kind of interesting because their sound is not... Sacramento is Northern California. And
you thought it'd be down that way more.
Yes, exactly. Precisely. You would think it'd be, if anything, maybe like LA adjacent, and then into the Arizona, New Mexico, Four Corner states, and all that.
Albuquerque, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Take memory of my geography.
Yeah, you're blowing me away, John. You're blowing me away. But yeah,
Daffy Duck was always going to Albuquerque, wasn't he?
Who was that?
Daffy Duck.
Oh yes, Daffy Duck was.
He'd come up through and say, "Say, fella, is this the way to Albuquerque?"
That was one of his lines. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, by all means. They consisted of singer John McCrae, trumpeter Vince DeFiore, I want to say is how you pronounce his name, guitarist Zan McCurdy, bassist Daniel McCullum, and drummer Todd Roper. There has been some turnover at bass and drums throughout their existence. The band has been noted for McCrae's sarcastic lyrics and deadpan vocals, which also I'll go ahead. Just me. No, it's not. I think everyone hears that when they hear Cake. For me, this is one of those examples, like you said, the exception proves the rule, right? Where I don't often like monotone vocal delivery. I want a little bit of like actual voice. But for some reason, in this packaging and the way
Yeah.
they do it, I love it. I think it sounds great. So I'll wear the hypocrite's dunce cap on this one because I know I've called that out before in past songs, but it works for me in this kind of vehicle, if you will. But yeah, they're noted for McRae's sarcastic lyrics and deadpan vocals and their wide-ranging musical influences, including norteño, country music, mariachi, disco, rock, funk, folk music, and even hip hop. So yeah, they're a bit all over the map in their influences. Cake incorporates a wide range of genres into their music, all of the aforementioned included. And McRae himself cites Hank Williams, Tom Zay, the Golden Gate Quartet, and Sly and the Family Stones as particular influences. The band is most often noted for four things: the prominence of De Fiore's trumpet lines, which, as you know, you've come to expect, you are finding yourself waiting for that to come around. McRae's ironic, sarcastic lyrics, his droll, deadpan, monotone vocals, and the use of the vibra slap, which is an old favorite of ours here on the Audiophiles. So yeah, this is, like we talked about a little bit, this is off Fashion Nugget, their second studio album. It was released in 1996 and contains 14 songs. And as you noted, The Distance and I Will Survive became the most, I would say, known or popular tracks from the record. Funny thing about I Will Survive, Gloria Gaynor would go on to say that that is her absolute most loathed version of the song she's ever heard. And she chalks it up to the cursing that he uses, because I believe he changed that fucking lock. You know, he kind of leans into that, and I don't think she was appreciative of that one bit. But something tells me that's this was, as much as they wish she'd like it, she wasn't the target audience for that song when they recorded it. You know what I mean? So
did she actually write the song? I don't know.
No, she didn't write the song.
I don't think she did. Yeah.
I think it's her biggest hit, and she
claims it as hers. Yeah. So,
right,
yeah.
Right, exactly.
If you just sing somebody else's song, it's not yours, mate. You know, move on.
Yeah. So they peaked at 22 in the UK and at number 4 in the US alternative airplay chart. The album was recorded at Paradise Studios in their hometown of Sacramento. It was certified gold in Australia and Canada and went twice platinum in the United States. So now I'm going to dig into the lyrics a little bit.
Just while you're just grabbing that, I'll just say, I mean, I think they were around for a bit then. Like, they seem to be known and noticed, but not hyper successful in terms of sales or whatever. But, you know, all the cool kids knew who Cake was, and, you know, you'd hear it on alternative radio and stuff, but they weren't, you know, they weren't racking up the Benjamins, as they say.
Well, you know, and I don't know, because another thing is, I don't know how long I don't know how long it took them for them to go twice platinum on this album.
Yeah.
But to go twice platinum on any album, it's got to be to some degree successful, right?
Yeah,
and they've had subsequent success on albums that would come out later than this. I don't think any of them were as successful as this one. And I just think that that's because The Distance has become a cult classic, and the whole I Will Survive song also as well. Like, that just caught everyone's attention when they heard that version. It was so different.
And are you aware of Chuck as well? So there was a long-running TV show called Chuck.
Okay.
I can't remember what TV channel it was on, but it was decent. And they used their song "Short Skirt, Long Jacket" as a title.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And that show got cancelled after, I think it was a second series, and viewers are so irate they petitioned so and so, and in the end, I think it was what they called, the sandwich people, Get It Fresh or whatever their fucking logo is. They have the big subs, you know, with the meatballs and all that.
Oh, Subway,
that's it.
Yeah.
Subway rescued it. And part of that was one of the characters worked next door in a fucking Subway, and Subway was mentioned 18 times every episode. But they saved it and carried on with the series because it was saved by Subway, yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I vaguely
imagine
on Chuck.
Yeah. So the I can't remember the names of the cast now, but you recognize 3 or 4 of them straight away. And I think the theme tune to that must have earned them some dollars. Definitely having that on the show.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would imagine that they made some money off that. But yeah, the lyrics to this particular song are: to me, coming from you, friend is a 4-letter word. End is the only part of the word that I heard. Call me morbid or absurd. But to me, coming from you, friend is a 4-letter word. But to me, coming from you, friend is a 4-letter word. End is the only part of the word that I heard. Call me morbid or absurd. But to me, a coming from you, friend is a 4-letter word. When I go fishing for the words I am wishing you would say to me, I am really only praying that the words you'll soon be saying might betray the way you feel about me. Oh, ho! Oh, all right. Oh, yeah, woo.
All right.
You know he's emphatic with it. All right. Oh, hey, hey, hey. But to me, coming from you, friend is a 4-letter word. So yeah, a lot of repetition in the lyrics, but I just love it. I think that there are some nice little, like you sort of touched on when you were talking about it. I don't know if it's like the genius of it, but there is something so playful about the bouncy rhythms of the words and how he even though he's not like all over the map with his tone or anything, but just the it's just the pattern of the words and how they fall and how he delivers them that give it life. And I really like it a lot. It's an absolute earworm of a song for me. And yeah, I would it's either about wanting to get out of the friend zone and getting rejected, or someone ending the other party, ending the relationship, much to the narrator's chagrin, not wanting the relationship to end.
To me, coming from you, friend is a 4-letter word, is 13 syllables. And I know there's a discipline involved in doing a 3-line 13. I can't remember. It's not haiku, but it's, is that 17? I don't remember. But there is another discipline where you do 13 syllables in a 3-line thing. And that's probably why it's so pleasing. And then it feels like it's inverted. End is the only part of the word that I heard. Again, it's like an upside down triangle then. The rest of the lyrics. But you know what I mean? So that's why it feels really pleasing.
Yeah, everything's falling perfectly into place. It's a really fun tune. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, though I have to be honest, I am so surprised that you hadn't, and that I slipped this one past the goalie, because I really was going to go with Frank Sinatra. But this is like, I like this one just as much. It's a good song. It's just a good album in general. So glad you ordered it. Glad you liked this song in particular. Guys out there in the listening audience, let us know if you're familiar with Cake, or if you were familiar with this song and what you thought of it. If it reminded you of anything, feel free to use the comments field. That's what it's there for. Also, while you're here and we have your attention, possibly at this juncture in the video, think about liking and sharing and subscribing. We're trying to grow the channel, and we can't do that without y'all. And that would be greatly appreciated. All that out of the way, we hope to see all y'all, and hopefully some more, on the next episode of The Audiophiles. See you later, guys.